In this YouTube channel, I've talked a lot about the ecclesia. This ecclesia consists of believers from different denominations with different or contradicting doctrine trying to fellowship together as a community. Now, the question is, can such fellowship thrive? When a group of people does not agree on doctrine, how then can they fellowship together? What will they discuss in this fellowship? Obviously, they cannot discuss doctrine because that will lead to arguments, tensions, and all kinds of unpleasantness. Here in this video, we will unveil how these diverse believers can come together, thrive in a fellowship, and grow in unity even in their doctrine. Alright, so firstly, there must be a well established base for the fellowship. What is the fellowship about? On what ground are they gathering? What is the shared or common ground bringing them together? These are questions that must be answered if any fellowship is to take place. The ground that brings them together must be strong enough to keep them together, otherwise, such fellowship will not last. This is why we must be very careful in deciding what that common ground should be. For no one can lay any foundation other than the one we already have, Jesus Christ. 1 Corinthians 3, verse 11. There is no ground as strong as Christ. I'm not speaking of Christ as a concept or an ideology, but Christ as a person and a reality. You can't gather on the ground of a concept or ideology, even if it is from the Bible. It must be on the ground of a tangible, living reality. So, if a fellowship is to flourish and thrive, it must gather on the ground of Christ, our indwelling life. It must be based on the life that we receive through salvation. It is this life that got us saved. This life is the basis of our salvation. It is the common ground that brings us together, and it is a tangible spiritual reality. A family can have different ideologies, views, and opinions, but they are bonded together by blood that flows in them. Ideas, views, and opinions can change, but blood is constant. It is a tangible reality. Yes, blood is a very strong bond because as long as that blood flows inside of them, they are a family, and there is nothing anyone can do about that. Your ideologies or views cannot change the blood flowing in your veins. The family is bounded together as long as they are alive. Blood signifies life. This is why the indwelling life in a Christian is the strongest bond that can hold them together as a group. So, the gathering is all about the indwelling life. They are not gathering to discuss theology, doctrine, concept, or ideology, even if it's from the Bible. The main purpose of the gathering is to know by experience the indwelling life and to grow into his fullness. This life is a person who has lived on earth at some point in history, but now he is alive in us and wanting to live through us. The goal of the fellowship is to grow into the fullness of the indwelling life. This means they are not fellowshipping around a doctrine, ideology, theology, book, denomination, historical figure, or a leader. We are fellowshipping around the life of Christ in us. Our gathering is all about this life of Christ in us. The goal is to experientially learn about the life and grow in it. I will state this again that what is bounding us together is not how much we agree, but the life of Christ that indwells us. In the natural world, the family bond is not determined by how much they agree, rather, it is determined by the blood that runs in their vein. Blood represents life, so all we are concerned about is the life of Christ in us. While discussing together, the group must adhere to the following rules. 1. Convictions are personal and you should keep them to yourself. That is, don't try to force it on anyone. 2. Everyone is free to hold on to their conviction. If you have no conviction about the truth, you are free to discharge it. 3. No one should attempt to force his or her doctrine or conviction on another person. 4. Everyone is free to state their conviction, doctrine, without provoking an argument. Everyone must respect each other's convictions. Simply state your conviction and give others the chance to state theirs. No one is allowed to authoritatively declare which conviction or doctrine is right and which is wrong. 5. We are not looking at how correct your theology, doctrine, or conviction is. Rather, we are concerned about the fruit that it is producing in you. Is it producing Christ in you? How is it strengthening your relationship with God? While talking about your conviction, your emphasis should not be on how accurate it is, but what fruit it is producing in you. We are only concerned about the indwelling life growing in you. So, how is this conviction of yours helping you grow in the life of Christ? I am stating this because even though the focus of the group is not to discuss doctrine, the issue of doctrine will come up as they talk about Christ and how they understand Him. However, when doctrinal issues comes up, your goal should not be about proving that your doctrine is accurate. Christians are so accustomed to trying to prove the accuracy of their doctrines. Even those that are in error will still use Bible verses to prove the accuracy of their doctrine. We must lay aside such tendency if we want to fellowship together. So, when doctrinal issue comes up, don't get carried away trying to prove the accuracy of the doctrine. Rather, focus on how this understanding or conviction of yours has strengthened your relationship with God and help you live by the indwelling life of Christ. Any doctrine, theology, conviction, or ideology that is not helping you grow in Christ is off topic. It shouldn't be brought into any of the discussion. Just keep it to yourself, for it is not the purpose of the gathering. The purpose of the gathering is to grow in the life, and as such, we discuss only things concerning growing in the indwelling life. Now, as we continue in this part, each person will begin to discover doctrines that are hindering their spiritual growth. When they see others in the group growing and walking in victory, they will realize they have to change their doctrine. Although no one is forcing them to let go of their doctrine, they will let go of it and adopt the ones that are helping the others walk in victory. This is because no one wants to be left lagging behind. So when you see that a doctrine is causing you to lag behind, you will throw it away no matter how much you love it. Moreover, you can't enjoy fellowship with the group if you are lagging behind. So each member continue to jettison doctrines that are not producing fruit and exchange them for doctrines that are proven to be producing fruit in the lives of others. In the end, you will realize that the group is becoming more and more united in their doctrine. This will continue until we all come to such unity in our faith and knowledge of God's Son that we will be mature in the Lord, measuring up to the full and complete standard of Christ. Ephesians 4:13. This is exactly how it ought to be. This is what God intended for us before we became divided into different denominations. But thank God in this generation, He is bringing us into oneness again.